Hi everyone, my name is Moonshine and I am the host of today's AMA. And we have BARTER here with us, which is the future of DeFi liquidity. And it is being built on their platform. So through today's AMA, we would be able to cover the superposition liquidity architecture, the aggregator cross protocol liquidity execution, their non-custodial DeFi infrastructure, and the plans they have for users of their platform. So we have Nikita Bata here with us. Would you mind introducing yourself and the team behind your project and how you guys found this project, Bata?
Thank you, Moonshine. So, hi everyone. It's nice to be here. My name is Nikita. I'm originally from Russia. I've been working in crypto full time for over 10 years. Joined during 2017 the ICO bull market. I fell in love with crypto and its thesis that we need to build like new financial system for the world. And I was buying, Ethereum coins, some other coins. And soon later, I wanted to know who are those teams that, build new innovative DeFi products. And I joined and got my first job. I've been in crypto ever since. Before becoming co-founder of Barter, I was an early employee at 1inch. I joined 1inch in January 2020, just before DeFi summer and pandemic. And I've always felt like centralized exchanges, market makers have too much power and that we need to sort of like take it away from them. And when decentralized finance started to emerge, I was like instantly hooked on it. And I've been in DeFi for last 6 years. And was at 1inch for 2.5 years as Chief Business Development Officer. I was a third employee, so I helped to scale a team from 3 people to 150. And around that time, I moved from Russia to Chile, and I live in Latin America in Santiago. And Barter started as a solver router on Ethereum mainnet. So if you ever swap in DeFi, if you swap on CowSwap, Uniswap, 1inch, 0x, there is a very high probability we have process your transactions because we are one of the largest solvers routers on those networks, and we processed over 35 billion volume on chain. And now we're building a new DeFi primitive that was initially called superposition. We recently changed the name to autopilot. And the reason was because we didn't want to have like too much brand fragmentation. And instead of superposition, it's now barter autopilot. But the idea is that we can turn any user wallet into a pool. So you don't need to deposit your money anywhere. You can give an allowance to our smart contract, and we will start using your liquidity and give you more in return. So think of it this way. You have 2 stable coins like USDT and USDC, and you don't care which one you hold because they're essentially like $1. And you can give us access to your liquidity, and we in a way would market make your money. And you would have like 1,000 USDT. Then we used your liquidity for swap for a transaction, and you have like 1,001 after swap in USDT, for example. So your liquidity in your wallet always grow with every action, with every swap. And this is what we're building. Why we've also rebranded it into autopilot is because of the analogy with self-driving cars. So, imagine if you have like a Tesla and you come to work, you go to an office, you can come in your own car. And while you're in the office, your car can like work, be an Uber driver, deliver like goods. And it's not staying idle in, the parking lot. It actually generates some kind of revenue for you. And then in the evening, when you need it back, it's there to pick you up and you can go back home. So we are kind of doing the same with your liquidity. We don't want stable coins to be lying idle in your wallet. We want them to power like the whole range of DeFi applications. I'll stop here. This is my intro. This is what we are building. Please check out our website and app and, Discord. Yeah. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, definitely I do. That was a very powerful introduction about the project. So I think my first question is in the distributed liquidity layer section, there's a strong emphasis on LPs retaining full custody of assets. So if liquidity never actually leaves the wallet until execution time, what specific guarantees prevent malicious routing logic or temporary approval exploits from becoming systematic attack vectors?
Yeah, so we have an Oracle system that verifies if we touch your liquidity, we have to give you back an equivalent in return. So, Chainlink Oracle verifies that the pricing of assets is accurate. And if we take 1,000 USDC, the worst case scenario is we would give you back like a same amount of USDT. But ideally, with every action, we want to make some kind of yield. So like instead of 1,000, you get a little bit more with every transaction. So Oracle system is the most powerful check we have, in addition to also internal routing logic on our backend. But the Oracle system is the one that, ensures we cannot do whatever we want with your funds. And also what's important, I think, that every block, you have some form of liquidity in your wallet. Like if we take your USDT in one block, in the same block, by the end of the operations, we give you back another form of collateral, like another stable.
Yeah, thank you very much. And also something else is, I noticed the website also mentions a gas-free strategy, switching multiple times throughout the document. So now, is this protocol effectively abstracting transaction cost away from the user, or is it just simply redistributed elsewhere within the solver economics?
It's sort of redistribute. So the idea is that when you're a liquidity provider, most of the order flow we have comes from CowSwap and like Uniswap and 1inch. So the users there act as takers while your liquidity is a maker. So what I'm trying to say is that when someone wants to swap on CowSwap, he's the one who is paying for gas, and to autopilot / superposition liquidity providers, it doesn't matter, it's free. So that's what we mean by the abstracted gas costs.
Nice. Thanks for walking us through that. So, there was kind of a comparison between what Barter is trying to build and other liquidity layers like Balancer V3 and Uniswap V4. Now, is this comparison what is it trying to imply? Is there something that Uniswap or Balancer V3 is not solving that Barter aims to solve, giving Barter an edge in the liquidity industry?
So I think Balancer and Uniswap, first of all, they're both AMMs, meaning that they work on, price curves and smart contract logic, and all actions are visible on chain. We are more like a market maker / RFQ system. I would Google and check projects like Bebop and Hashflow, who use the same pricing mechanism and logic. So our assets are not publicly available. You cannot use them the way you use AMMs. So that's one big difference. Another big difference is that Balancer and Uniswap are kind of pool oriented. So if you want to be a liquidity provider, you deposit your funds into a pool and you lose custody of them. And moreover, you do not see exactly what's happening with your liquidity, like how is it being used, who are your trading counterparties, what kind of yield you're generating. There is an impermanent loss. There is MEV as well. And in our case, there is no MEV because bots do not have access to autopilot / superposition liquidity access. So those two big difference. AMM pricing logic is different than RFQ pricing logic, We are kind of more like market makers, a little bit more efficient. And lastly, that you don't need to deposit your funds anywhere. They are just in your wallet, and you sign one action, a proof. That's a big difference from UX perspective. It's so much better.
Nice, nice, nice. So the thing now is, do you envision a future where wallets themselves become active liquidity infrastructure rather than just passive asset containers?
Absolutely. That's our vision, that people, and one of the reasons why DeFi doesn't scale, because it's a little bit complex and it requires, like a lot of actions before you get your capital to work. But, ideally, people don't want to do any of that. They just want to push one button in their wallet and like enable yield. And this is essentially what we do. And you don't need to put your money into a vault, into a pool. Your wallet is already built to be that ideal, like point of control and liquidity network. And yeah, we are trying to turn like all of wallets and crypto in DeFi into a liquidity network that's more efficient. And our algorithms, smart contracts, would coordinate the usage of your assets. Yeah.
Thank you for your answer to that question. Now, another question I wanted to ask. I saw some of the diagrams in the paper, which is suggesting how the internal router plays a massive role in determining execution pathways. So now I'm curious, how much trust minimization actually exists around these routing decisions? And can certain participants independently verify why a route was chosen over another?
So like our router is closed source, and they're like, you have to sort of like trust it in the same way you trust aggregators, that they are providing you the best possible quote on chain. There is like no way around it. But I think historically, our traction as the best, largest solver on CowSwap proves that our system is very efficient and, always maximizes, outcome for user. This is a trust assumption our community has to take. And overall, when we choose, that's a good question. Like, how do we choose liquidity? So imagine I have a wallet with 1,000 USDT, and you guys or have a wallet with 1,000 USDT, and then we need this 1,000 for swap. How do we make a decision? Like, which wallets do we use? Because essentially those are exactly the same USDT. And that's we've built an algorithm, a system. We will make this part of logic public, that we, first of all, there is a random element. There is also an element that we try to maximize yield for all counterparties. So if my wallet was used recently in a previous swap, then in the next one, there is a higher probability that your wallet will be chosen. And lastly, we also analyze actions on chain. So if a community member is a liquidity provider into Barter, is swaps using Barter API or Barter, website, is joined our point program, then we will try to prioritize this more loyal wallet to, for example, a wallet that uses competing projects like, I don't know, 0x matcha for swaps or something like that. But yeah, that's a very good point, and I think we will open source part of this logic to our community soon.
Yeah, thank you so much for explaining how the router works. But then again, the way you explain it, it shows that the protocol you guys are using position itself as non-custodial, right? But this execution still depends on certain interactions between the routers, the solvers, and the liquidity sources. So which of these components do you currently view as the most critical systemic dependency in the architecture?
Well, I think we are heavily dependent on overall activity in DeFi and order flow. like people and users are very sticky. When people start using like a certain wallet, of course, if they really need to switch, they can easily switch wallet provider, just, extract those 12 words and put them in another wallet. But in general, users are very sticky. So, we are dependent on order flow that we receive as a solver from CowSwap, Uniswap, 1inch, and other venues where we plugged in as a solver. And it creates dependencies. And this is probably like not the weakest point, but something we always have keep in mind, that we need to provide like the way like CowSwap works is that whoever can provide the best rate among solvers wins an wins an auction to execute this transaction. And if there is like a market maker, let's say Wintermute, that have like deeper liquidities than we do, they can provide better rate, and then we will have no order flow, and our liquidity providers into autopilot / superposition, they will have no yield, no transactions, nothing. So that's a risk. That's a big dependency. It is non-custodial. I mean, like, we don't hold your assets and we don't like do anything with them apart from facilitating swaps. But we have those risks and constraints that I've just mentioned. Yeah.
Nice. Thanks for answering that question. So another thing is, like, now about your platform, what is like the target audience? What are you guys, or what kind of events, partnerships, or marketing are you guys trying to pull so you can get users actively using your platform, so even certain companies who also have similar goals like you guys?
Well, the idea is that, in general, our first partners were AMMs and liquidity pools. And then we've aggregated them on a smart, inside our router. And then we've also started to engage in with different aggregators and order flow auctions like CowSwap, Uniswap, etc., etc. We've also partnered with a bunch of bridges, because bridges have like users who sometimes want, like some kind of complex swaps routing on single chain. And we've been working with multiple of them, like the bridge, and so Defi, etc. Now our prime partners are wallets. We really want to engage with wallets, because wallets have a problem. Imagine, like, I'm a power user. Let's say I have $10,000 in my, like, in USDC. And then if I want to make yield, I deposit all my money into Aave. And when I do that, my wallet becomes empty and I have nothing else to do in crypto, in DeFi in general. So I just like switch it off and don't do anything at all. And it's a problem for wallets. There are two schools of thought in crypto, in DeFi, about like fat wallet thesis or like fat app thesis. And like there is one of those layers is going to capture majority of like users and revenue and will monetize it. And it's either going to be like a dApp, like Aave, or it's going to be a wallet, like, I don't know, Trust Wallet. But what we offer is unlocks some kind of like superpowers for wallets, because user funds are always present there, and they are at the same time powering, complex DeFi applications like swaps. And at the same time, they are not deposited anywhere. So if the person wants to stop, he can stop it at any block, at any time, and liquidity is always there, and he can start spending, buy new assets, trying out different things. So we really want to engage with wallets. It's very tough. Wallets, we are a new primitive. No one has built anything like that before. The only project that is currently building a similar implementation is 1inch. So if you guys want to check out 1inch Aqua, feel free to read about it. It has a similar direction, but no one has built anything like that before. So for wallets, it's new. It's a little bit risky, and that's why it takes time to engage with them. However, there is a very good wallet called mBuyer, and they have an AI tool called Aura, and we've recently partnered with them. Feel free to check them out.
Yeah, thank you so much for walking us through that. And something else I also wanted to ask was about do you guys have like a token in your ecosystem, or you guys are just operating abstractly?
I mean, we're still discussing it internally. It heavily depends on the success of the project. If we manage to reach critical mass of users and the system works, we are not hacked, everything, we are financially like profitable, then I am pretty sure it's a token play. We will have a token because we want to align user incentives with protocol incentives and have this some kind of hyper liquid moment in DeFi where a beautiful transparent token economics comes into play, and all the actions, fees, everything is like transparent and efficient. So yeah, in case we are successful, we will likely do a token. However, you can never be too sure, and it also doesn't only depend on us. It depends on overall market conditions and DeFi growth rate. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for walking us through that as well. So currently, do you guys have any partnerships with any like projects or organizations or companies who are already like uh, using BARTER platform in the ecosystem?
Yeah, a lot. We even had a dedicated, Twitter threads called BarterHood. So we partnered with a lot of different DEXs, AMMs, like big names in the space, guys like Euler, Curve, Balancer, etc., etc. You can check it all on our Twitter page. We might even do a dedicated one on our website, I guess. We have a lot of partners. We also raised capital 2 years ago. We've been funded by Maven 11, who is our lead investor, and we also have DCG, Anagram, Lattice among our investors. All like great names. Super happy to work with them. There was an announcement in the blog, so you can read all about our story there.
Okay, that's really great. So I think that's all the questions I have concerning the project. So before we start taking some community questions, I don't know if there's any other thing you'd like to mention that you feel has not been covered in today's AMA.
I just want to add that we've recently also announced the fixed rate lending, and we are trying to rebuild a lot of existing DeFi primitives like bridges, AMMs, lending with our approach of wallet liquidity, and maybe even like DeFi, decentralized finance, will become wallet finance in our vision of the future. So yeah, if you're interested about lending markets, please, take a look at our announcement that went live on Tuesday. But yeah, happy to answer your questions. Thanks for having me. We are very proud of what we managed to achieve at Barter. I mean, just due to the fact we exist, people who trade or swap on CowSwap have over $5 million more in a wallet because we provided better rate than anyone else on the market due to our routing algorithm. And happy to answer your questions. I see a lot of hands here. Again, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you too for mentioning that. So let's have some questions from the community. So let's have Kelvin Connor. Kelvin Connor, you can go ahead with your question, mate.
Hello, Moonshine, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. Hi, Nikita, how you doing, man?
Doing well, thank you.
Yeah. So I really love your perspective about the community. It's really great about that. So let me just jump on with my question. How does the BarterSwap plan to, like maintain a strong and sustainable ecosystem after, these early rewards and farming incentives decrease? And let's say what long-term value will keep users, traders, and liquidity providers active even during lower market activity. Yeah.
That's an excellent question. And, we don't have any incentive rewards right now. And the market is more or less sustainable. If you look at our app on our website, we currently provide 8% yield on stable coins. And this yield doesn't have like any token incentives or any other forms of incentives. It all comes from native like DeFi activity on like CowSwap and other venues. And 8% is a very good yield. It's higher than what Aave and like US treasuries and other things are offering. So as long as we can provide a competitive yield, I think we will have users and community. And also, a lot of projects, they're looking for yield that originates on chain. Like if you're a stablecoin issuer and your yield comes from holding like US treasuries, that's, there are like a lot of, centralized parts, something can go wrong. I don't know, like it doesn't natively originate on chain. And our yield is coming from people actively trading in DeFi. So it is kind of interesting to some parties who want to diversify the risk and use, use on-chain yield sources. So yeah, if people keep on trading in DeFi, which I sincerely believe will be happening, we should have a sustainable like yield and good, revenue for our community that can sustain a project without any incentives. Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing, man. That's amazing. That shows you guys are really transparent in everything you do. And
Guys, can you hear me? I think I lost you, Kelvin.
hi, Nikita, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
I said thanks very much for answering the question. That shows you guys are really transparent in everything you do. And, yeah, I love the way you broke down everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate your kind words. Happy to be here on this AMA and show you what we've done. Oh, I think we lost Moonshine. I don't know if I can accept people who wants to ask questions.
Okay. Nikita, can I go ahead with my question now?
Yeah, please. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Talking about the whole ecosystem expansion, I just wanted to know if Barter could evolve into a back-end liquidity infrastructure for wallets for fintech apps or just institutional execution tools rather than just to facing DeFi products.
That's a good question. A lot of I think currently there is a big trend towards institutional players and how they can do things in DeFi because they have access to like users and real yield and they like big operating businesses. Yes, I think we can. I mean, our thesis would work for them just as for a regular user. And I think the fact that all the money are not being like deposited somewhere and are staying inside the wallet and they can see all the actions, all the operations that are happening through them, is a good value offer for them. It just takes some time before we prove to everyone that this system is more efficient than pooling and combining liquidity together. And while we prove that, risk assumptions are same or even lower than in, more kind of traditional DeFi. But yeah, we'd love to be a backend infrastructure. We'd love to power wallets and institutional players as well. Hopefully we will grow, scale, and manage to reach them.
All right, thank you very much. I really appreciate the answer.
Thank you, Jordan. Who is next? I think we lost Moonshine again. I wonder, how do I approve people? Moonshine, I think we can let more people in to ask their questions.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
I had issues with my PC, so I had to connect with my phone. Sorry about that. So,
No worries, no worries.
so I think I had unmuted Kelvin Connor to ask a question. I wasn't there when you answered the question, but we can have Jordan Jody ask a question.
I believe Jordan has asked the question already, but we can ask, let more people in.
All right, Antoinette, you can go ahead with your question, please.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me? Hi, Nikita. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you, but it's not entirely clear.
Oh, I'm very sorry about that.
You can go ahead with your question.
Barter has a great architecture for the future of DeFi liquidity world. But while going through the website, I see how the team repeatedly emphasizes fair value distribution across LPs, traders, solvers, and asset managers rather than focusing solely on swap efficiency. So would it be accurate to say BarterSwap was fundamentally architected to solve the imbalance of value attracted in DeFi instead of simply building better trading venues?
Moonshine, can you please repeat the question, because I couldn't hear all of it?
Okay, Antoinette, can you try sending your question? We can't really hear your audio. It's very muffled. So you can try sending in your question so I can read it from the chat. So while we wait for you, let's have Benkis ask a question. Benkis, you can go ahead with your question, please.
Thank you very much, Moonshine. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me, Nikita?
Yes.
Okay. Let me go ahead with my question. My question is in respect to, the what do you call it? Sorry, I posted my question. Let me read it out from. I posted it here. Okay, my question was, I saw on the website where you said our wallet can earn for us. My question is, what is the guarantee that the users who will be using these features, they won't be compromised with, their wallet will not be compromised. And number two, my second question is the app that you said you have, is it ready? Is it ready, or on the App Store and iOS App Store, which is the Apple features, and then the Play Store. That's my question. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, thank you, Benkis. Our app is available on our website. We don't currently plan to build a mobile version, but it's not very necessary for decentralized applications. I mean, you can easily access it on our website through your wallet. You can do it through your phone. It has a mobile view, so it works. Yeah, yeah. In terms of security slash trust assumptions, honestly, DeFi is a very scary place right now. If you monitor news closely, you see how many hacks happened in the past few months and how many protocols and projects were exploited. I mean, personally at Barter, we always ask not to use your primary wallet while using superposition. We don't want to have access to too much liquidity, and in case something goes wrong, we want to be capable of reimbursing the users. Right now, however, we have over 200,000 of liquidity connected to autopilot, and most of those funds have been connected for over 5 months. We also have over 120 wallets users, and the protocol works as intended. So we were not hacked, we were not compromised in any way. The system works and hopefully will continue to operate as intended. In terms of like extra security features, I'm not sure if I should disclose all of them in addition to Oracle, but we have like let me put it this way. One of the features that I can publicly disclose is that usually we do not use more than 2 wallets for swaps. So if we process, I would say, like, let's say maybe like 100 transactions an hour, and we don't use more than 2 wallets in the same block. So yeah, like it just doesn't happen. We don't have that much order flow. There is not enough trades on Ethereum. However, if someone were to, like, I don't know, try to, like, if we get hacked and someone tries to withdraw or like abuse, like, you can't actually withdraw, but you can try to manipulate token prices and like start downselling stables. But so it would be a very slow process. Like you would have 1,000 USDT, and then you would need to swap and get 999 USDT or like 998 DAI. So you would always like just make $1 of profit. But if someone tries to do something like this and would touch more than 2 wallets, the system would shut down immediately. So yeah, like and Oracle systems that I explained during the call, it always verifies that if we take your funds in the same block, not next block, like in the same block, we give you back more or the same equivalent that according to Chainlink is good. Yeah, so those are the assumptions and security safety measures we have.
Oh, thank you very much for answering that. And I wanted to, you didn't answer my second question, which was, is the app ready on the App Store, or you can only access it through your website?
You can access it only through our website. We don't yet have like an App Store plans, but yeah, you can just use app.barterswap.xyz, and yeah, you can try it out. It's live and ready.
Okay, thank you very much for answering my question, and thank you, Moonshine, for the opportunity.
All right, thank you so much, Bankies. So Nikita, are you open to taking at least one more question or so?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So Antoinette sent her question in the chat. So she says, while going through the website, I see how the team repeatedly emphasizes fair value distribution across LPs, traders, solvers, and asset managers rather than focusing solely on swap efficiency. So would it be accurate to say BarterSwap was fundamentally architected to solve the imbalance of value extraction in DeFi instead of simply building a better trading venue?
Yeah, actually, we were not initially started as a like trading venue, but we've seen yield that is being captured by market makers. Like, look at CowSwap, and the largest solver right now is Wintermute. So imagine in 2023, we were the largest solver. In 2024, Barter was the largest solver. In 2025, it's Wintermute. And what Wintermute does is use liquidity from their hot wallet to settle transactions. They are cheaper in terms of gas because, when you run an AMM like Uniswap, you do like safety checks, etc., etc. And you have to build those features that are being lacking efficiency, and market makers can provide better rates, get trade, and earn extra fees. So we felt like, how do we compete with them without becoming a market maker ourselves? And that's how we've built Autopilot. Our goal is to redistribute and give access to like regular users, liquidity providers, to this new yield source that was initially captured by market makers, brokerages, and maybe like big centralized exchanges.
Okay, so a question came in from Liz Isel Noel. The second question he asks is, what are the project's immediate objectives? So many projects would prefer to communicate about their short or medium-term missions and vision statements. But what are you guys focusing on at the moment?
So right now we want to showcase that our approach works. No one tried to turn wallet into a pool or liquidity source, and it requires a lot of research. So our prime focus is researching what is the end game of this thesis, and how we will operate, how would users like trade and be like earn yield in like 5 years from now. So researching, onboarding users, spreading the news, showcasing our approach to DeFi. This is what is our prime target, really. We'd love to have like a larger community. We'd love to have a bigger community. So guys, if you join our Discord, we would be super happy. We are trying to keep it fun. We have like barter memes and other things happening there. Our goal is to like make DeFi, efficient, transparent, and not big protocols, big companies, big market makers with large pockets who would, earn absurd amount of money, and rather like people in DeFi earning this yield. This is our vision. Let's take one more question. I think Hot wants to ask something, and we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, I think these are all the questions currently. I know there are a lot of text questions, but guys, if you have more questions, kindly head to either the Discord, the Next, or Telegram to ask, and I'm sure the team will be forever open to answer whatever questions you have. And then sure to join the Telegram channel, because that is where you get updates about Barter. So with that, Nikita, I'd like to give you the floor to give your concluding statement before I end the VC.
Guys, thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure. Happy to be here. Have a good day, everyone. I hope you guys, still believe in crypto, in our vision, and we'll build a better future, more efficient future together. That's it. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Nikita. It was a very nice section. And thank you all so much for asking questions. See you guys in the next AMA.
Thank you. Bye-bye.